The year is 399 before the Common Era. Athens, a city once radiant with power and cultural brilliance. Now a shadow hangs heavy. The Golden Age feels like a distant memory. The air itself seems thick with unspoken anxieties. People move through the Agora, their faces etched with weariness. The sun still climbs high over the Acropolis, its marble temples gleaming. Yet the light does not quite dispel the gloom that has settled in the hearts of its citizens. This is a city grappling with its own reflection, unsure of the path ahead. The murmur of voices, lower, more cautious than before. The clatter of market stalls, yes, but an undercurrent of unease. The Peloponnesian War, a brutal, decades-long conflict with Sparta, has ended. But victory did not belong to Athens. Defeat has left deep scars. Scars on the landscape, certainly, but more profoundly, scars on the Athenian spirit, on its very identity. The confidence that once defined this great polis has been shaken to its core. In this atmosphere of fragile peace and simmering discontent, new ideas can seem dangerous. And in this very city, at this very time, walks a man unlike any other. His name is Socrates. The Peloponnesian War had not just been a military defeat for Athens, it was a profound psychological blow. For nearly 3 decades, Athenian society had been strained, its resources depleted, its young men lost to battlefields far and wide. The city had endured plague, sieges, and the humiliation of seeing its mighty long walls torn down by the victorious Spartans. The once proud Athenian empire was no more. This loss of power and prestige created a vacuum, filled with uncertainty and a desperate search for stability. Democracy, Athens' greatest invention, had itself been tested. It had been briefly overthrown by oligarchic coups, like the rule of the 30 tyrants. Though democracy was restored by 399 BCE, it was a fragile entity. The memory of tyranny was fresh. The fear of internal dissent and further instability loomed large. Political discourse was often heated, polarized. Citizens were wary, looking for those who might undermine the newly re-established order. Into this tense Athenian landscape steps Socrates. He is not a conventional figure of power or influence. He holds no political office. He writes no books. He charges no fees for his teachings, unlike the sophists. He is often seen in the Agora, barefoot, dressed in simple robes, engaging in conversation with anyone willing to talk. His appearance is unremarkable, even described as physically unattractive by some contemporaries. Yet, there is an undeniable magnetism about him, an intensity in his gaze that draws people in. His method is unique, unsettling. He approaches individuals, often those who claim to possess great knowledge or expertise. His relentless questioning earns him a mixed reputation. The simmering resentment against Socrates eventually crystallizes into formal accusations. In 399 BCE, a legal indictment is lodged against him. The charges are twofold, and they strike at the very heart of Athenian societal values. Firstly, Socrates is accused of, or impiety. This is a serious charge. It alleges that he does not believe in the gods recognized by the state of Athens. More than that, it claims he introduces new, unauthorized divinities. This accusation taps into the deep-seated religious anxieties of the post-war city. The second charge is perhaps even more inflammatory in the eyes of many citizens. Socrates is accused of corrupting the youth of Athens. This accusation paints him as a malevolent influence, deliberately leading young men astray from the path of civic duty and traditional morality. The penalty demanded is death. Section 5. The accusers step forward, voices of resentment. 3 main accusers step forward to press these grave charges against Socrates. Their motivations are likely a complex mix of personal grievances, political opportunism, and perhaps even genuine, albeit misguided, civic concern. The first, and the one who formally lodges the indictment, is Miletus. He is a young, relatively unknown poet, possibly acting as a frontman for more influential figures. The second accuser is Anytus. He is a far more prominent and powerful figure. A wealthy tanner and a respected democratic politician, Anytus had been a key figure in the restoration of democracy after the rule of the 30 tyrants. The third accuser is Lycon. He is a rhetorician, representing the orators. Together, these three men represent a coalition of interests, each with their own reasons for wanting to silence the philosopher. Section 6. The trial begins. A philosopher faces his city. The day of the trial arrives. The setting is the Heliaia, the People's Court of Athens. A vast crowd has gathered. This is not a trial conducted by professional judges and lawyers in the modern sense. Instead, Socrates faces a jury of his peers, 501 Athenian citizens chosen by lot. These are ordinary men, farmers, merchants, craftsmen. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation and tension. For many, Socrates is a familiar, if perplexing figure from the Agora. Now, they will sit in judgment over his life. Socrates, now 70 years old, stands before them. He is not accompanied by legal counsel in the way we understand it. Athenian defendants were expected to speak for themselves. Socrates, true to his character, chooses to defend himself in his own way. Section 7. The defense of a life wisdom in questioning. Socrates begins his defense by addressing the older, unspoken prejudices against him. He firmly denies these portrayals, asserting that he has never claimed expertise in such matters, nor has he ever charged fees for his conversations. He then recounts the story of the oracle at Delphi, which proclaimed that no one was wiser than Socrates. Puzzled by this, he embarked on his mission to question those reputed to be wise, only to discover their ignorance. His own wisdom, he explains, lies in his recognition of his own ignorance. This relentless questioning, he argues, was not intended to humiliate, but to expose false claims to knowledge and to encourage genuine self-examination. He sees himself as a divine gift to Athens, a gadfly sent by the god to awaken the city from its intellectual and moral slumber. Regarding this specific charge of corrupting the youth, Socrates challenges Meletus directly. He uses his characteristic method of cross-examination to expose the inconsistencies and lack of substance in Meletus's accusations. On the charge of impiety, Socrates points out the contradiction in Meletus accusing him of atheism, while also accusing him of introducing new divinities. Section 8. The verdict and the price condemned by his peers. After the speeches from both sides, the 501 jurors cast their votes. There are no deliberations as in modern trials. Each juror makes his decision individually. The ballots are counted. Socrates is found guilty. The margin is not overwhelming, but it is decisive. Plato reports that if just 30 more votes had gone the other way, Socrates would have been acquitted. The verdict, however, stands. The philosopher, the gadfly of Athens, has been condemned by the very citizens he sought to serve through his relentless questioning. According to Athenian legal procedure, after a guilty verdict in cases where the penalty was not fixed by law, both the prosecution and the defendant could propose a penalty. The jury would then choose between the two proposals. The accusers, Meletus, Anytus, and Lycon, had already demanded the death penalty. Now, Socrates is asked to propose an alternative. Socrates, in a move that likely astonishes and perhaps angers many of the jurors, considers what he truly deserves. Section 9. The Hemlock's Embrace, a legacy forged in death. Socrates is taken to prison to await his execution. Due to a religious festival, the sacred ship to Delos had not yet returned, and no executions could take place until its arrival. This means Socrates spends about a month in prison. During this time, his friends visit him regularly. They are distraught, urging him to escape. His friend Crito even makes detailed arrangements for a comfortable exile. Socrates, however, refuses. In Plato's dialogue, Crito, he explains his reasons. He argues that he has lived his entire life under the laws of Athens, benefiting from them. To now disobey them, even if he believes his sentence is unjust, would be to betray his own principles and to harm the city's laws. The final day arrives. His friends gather around him in his cell. Socrates remains calm, even cheerful, engaging in philosophical discussion about the immortality of the soul as recounted in Plato's Phaedo. He speaks of philosophy as a preparation for death. When the appointed time comes, the jailer, with tears in his eyes, brings the cup of hemlock. Socrates takes it without hesitation. He offers a prayer and then drinks the poison calmly.